A message for my people.
Nick Dad, baby. We the new label.
Yeah. Now this the black sheep sticking its home. I need a crib like I'm Gatsby.
I need it
in hand, just understand my
Pockets that deep.
with nothing to prove. I ain't got nothing to do. When they can't compete and I got nothing to lose. You see, they told me I'm the one that's gonna benefit. Never been a
Yes, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to Veterans Minimum, the #1 sports betting vibe on the internet. I'm your host, Nick Dais, at Nick Dais 10 as you can find me. Joining me to my left, Tar Heel Nation. But you're not down with the Tar Heels, are you?
I don't dislike the Tar Heels.
Oh, your squad is
Georgetown. Yeah. No, this was Vince Carter made it into the Hall of Fame, so I wanted to shout out Vince, give him some love. So, yep.
Fuck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Williams in the building, host of the American Fan 365. Shout out to you. Shout out to your show going viral right now.
Man,
how's it feel, man?
Feels the same.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing for me, I think you're the same way too, is like you want to maximize them. You know what I'm saying? You get all these eyeballs, it's great, but at the same time, it's like how many eyeballs can I like pull and keep?
Yeah.
And then move forward to the next point. So that's the main thing. But listen, going up almost 100 followers in a couple days is like, yo, this is nice. Need to keep doing this. So so exciting. Yeah, definitely excited.
Yeah, man, it's dope because, like, I remember, I think you were the one that we were doing the Talk of the Town video during the football season, and it was when the Browns played the Niners, and I mentioned, like, there was a common theme throughout the whole football season that whoever was, like, the team everyone was talking about that week and it dominated all the shows, well, they all laid an egg the following week, and it was when the Niners had just beat the Cowboys on, like, Sunday Night Football. This is the best team in the league. Holy shit, MVPs and all that. And the Browns were like on their third string quarterback. Watson was out. They were 9-point underdogs at home. And, we did cut off the clip where we said that they might win, but the way we had it was like, yo, you can't bet the Niners. Got to take the 9.5 in some spots. And then that video fucking went crazy.
Yeah.
And then I noticed that, like, the ensuing clips after that were like doing really well. So like where the videos were getting 1,000 to 2,000 views, and I was like, oh shit, these reels are killing it. Now you were getting like the K. When you see the K, it's like you're like, damn, bro, that's dope.
That's
like,
good stuff.
That's really good.
And to your point, that's the other part of it too. Is I don't know about you guys. I know we got George in the back.
Well, yeah, I didn't introduce George. My dog.
Hi, George.
You're good. This is the first show I've ever engineered of yours, dude.
Let's go.
It's a big moment for me.
Let's go.
But I don't know about you guys, but like when I'm on social, if I find a page or I find something that I like, I will go on your page and I'll go watch 3, 4, 5 other videos. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like a lot of times with regular people, they don't do that. Like they'll watch that one video and it's like, that's nice. And they'll just go on about their normal social media journey. But like finding a way to capture someone and then getting them to then watch more of your stuff, follow, like, it's a part of the journey. It's the hard part. I mean, you've hit the next point in terms of your social media footprint. And yeah, man, like in terms of sponsors, in terms of everything, you're at the precipice of it. I always have to give you a big word. Sorry.
That's a good ass
Sorry.
word, bro. I'm dumb as shit, but I even know that one. That one was pretty fly.
Sorry, George. Anytime I hit him with a word, he's like, that was impressive.
Dude, I had these doctors on the show talking about mental health back when, like, kind of pandemic-ish. And, there were so many times they were using these words, and I was like, in my head, as I'm trying to comprehend what they're saying, I'm using, like, context clues. And there was one part I was like, yeah, I'm going to be honest. My audience knows I don't know what the fuck that means, but I have to acknowledge that. Because if I just stand there, like, shaking my head, people are going to watch the video and be like, you don't know what they're talking about, bro. But hey, authenticity sells, right? But dude, to your point, right, about the social media thing, and then we'll get into, we got some NBA playoff matchups we got to talk about. Got all the betting lines here on the phone. I love betting NBA playoffs. I've talked about this shit all the time. It's up there with like UFC, soccer, and NFL for me, and I do pretty well in it just because we'll get into that. But like, when I find a video that goes viral, I'll just tell you my thought process and how I think, right? I'm scrolling on Instagram or TikTok, whatever it might be, and I see a video, and I look at the likes, the comments. I'm like, oh, this shit is, 80,000 likes, 10,000 comments, whatever it might be. I'll click on the profile. If I click on that profile and I see that's the only video they have, I might even close the app. I'm like, I'm good. Like, I'm not going to follow the rest of, because you don't have anything.
Mm-hmm.
But, and using my show as an example, and from what I've heard from people, when you open up my show and then you see there's like 3 clips a day, there's a body of work, there's a lot of clips that you could watch and consume, you're more inclined to stay on the page and then follow it.
Mm.
And then when you look why followers are so important, and I've started to put more of an emphasis on like numbers. Like in the past, I've always been, this shit is good. I can't figure out the algorithm. Dude, your next video that you might post might get 600 views.
I know.
And the algorithms are ever changing. And as
Yeah.
content creators, it sucks because once you do figure it out, like, bro, you know what? You gotta have captions on your video. Matter of fact, you shouldn't have a whole sentence. You need to have one word at a time jumping up on the screen. You figure it out, and then 2 weeks from now, it's like, you know what the in thing is? Having a steady caption throughout.
Yeah.
Josh's thoughts on Max's KO.
Yeah.
And then you start doing that, and then a month from now, it's, you got to go back to black and white captions, or now it needs to be colored. And you're like, what the? It's
Yeah.
ever changing.
Yeah.
But, excuse me, what I've noticed is the followers are important, because then when you find a page, you're like, oh shit, this has a following. When I follow something and it has like 2,000, I'm like, I don't know. And I mean, but that's always how I've been. And I always, when I started thinking that way, that's when I started putting an emphasis on like, I got to grow the page.
Yeah.
I got to get more followers. And, I had a bunch of videos go crazy during football, and it got to a number now where you have the K.
Yeah.
So that's the first step.
Yeah.
Now I want to get to 100,000, and then
Yeah.
from there you get to 1 million. And everyone always says that it's harder to get to, once you get to 100, it's easier to get to 1 million.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, Cutman Tate, I've been talking to him, basically almost every day, really, for the past few months. And his channel, his page has gone from 40,000 to over 100,000 in 3 months. And so he was trying to figure out how to harness, what he should do, what he should be thinking. And no, you're 100% right. I feel like once you get, like once your page gets to 50,000, you know what I mean? Once the page hits 50,000, you've already shifted the level of conversation, the level of sponsorships, the level of money. But then when you get to 100,000, it's literally drop mic. Like, there's nothing else I have to say to you. Like, 1 million really is, like, I was telling Tate, like, literally, once you hit 100,000 as a man, you're in the top 5% of all male dudes on social platforms. You know what I'm saying? When you get to 1 million, you're like probably at 1/5%. So you've done the work. You know what I mean? Like, where you are right now, bro, the sky's already the limit. The next step for you is getting to 50. When you get to 50, you can chill there for 5 minutes, but you've already shown that you're going to keep growing it. So it's getting there. It's getting there for sure.
Yo, George, you're in the content space too, bro. And you and I, I think one of the cool things about George and why us two get along so well is we both do the same thing, in the sense of he does the behind the camera stuff as well as having his own show. So like, I don't want to speak for you, George, but I have a unique perspective, and I know he does too, but it's made me better in front of the camera, working behind the camera.
Oh, 100%.
So how do you feel about this conversation about the content?
Yeah, there's one thing that remains consistent in everything that switches. So one, you just got to be electric on the mic. Like, when you're spitting facts, I think part of the reason why the GOAT debate went off is because you hit 2 stats right off the beginning, and then we gave our opinion. So I think there's proper lead-ins, and Nick, you do this in your videos as well, where like, all right, this shit's about to be a clip. And so if you structure your show like that, you're setting yourself up for success. One thing that I've been trying to do is you have to establish what your page's brand is and don't veer from it. Because I think too much of the different types of looks like fucks with the audience a little bit. But at the same time, it's like going back to what you said. All right, is it the one word captions this week? Is it the colored captions the next week? I heard a content creator say one time, it's like, it changes so fast. Be uniquely yourself on whatever your brand is. So, find something and run with it. And I would say a good combination of planning for your clips and then establishing what your brand is, like you're gonna find success and consistency. So there is a method to the madness. As much as the algorithm changes, the one thing that doesn't change is you sitting here every Monday, every Wednesday, spitting facts to the people, and then that will inevitably get your followers to really follow along. It's so much like religion and church, which I know you love, Nick, because you're coming here to spit knowledge, just like how priests spit knowledge about the Bible, and that's
on Sunday,
and people show up for that.
But also, to your point, you're building a community, right?
Yeah.
And one thing I've been shit, man, I feel like I'm Gary Vee right now, what I'm about to say, because you know how he's always preaching about like the next thing. But bro, I open up LinkedIn more than fucking any app, bro. I'm on LinkedIn like 10, 15 times a day. Like whether it's jobs or networking or, when I meet someone now, I kind of go to see if they have a LinkedIn first. Like it's because when you reach out to someone on LinkedIn, it's professional.
It already has the air of
something. You're not trying to slide into a DM on fucking LinkedIn. You're like, hey, I want to network, I want to connect. I'll go and search like people in the sports betting space. Are there girls in the sports betting space that don't have a platform? Have that dynamic be on the show for the next football season or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And there was a really interesting post on LinkedIn about kind of with this conversation in mind of like this one company, and I forgot the name of it, but it was like a big company, right? They gave one influencer who had like 3 million followers, they gave him $100,000. And the return on that, they made like 50. So they're operating in the red. But then they had another follower that they gave $2,000 to. He had 50,000 followers, but that 2K turned into 200,000. And there's gonna be a pivot now where I think in the beginning, social media was so new.
Yeah.
Where people are like, oh shit, you got 10 million followers? Here's
all this money.
Blank check, right?
Yeah.
Not knowing that it's not the follower count, it's the engagement.
Yes.
Like immediate engagement. Like, hey, when I tell people like, yo, we got this new sponsor, and I've passed up on a bunch of sponsors because like, I don't use it, I don't agree with it. You know what I mean? Like,
it's not gonna be natural if I pitch it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the audience, when you've been doing it, I've been doing it for 8.5 years, they could tell right away. They're like, oh, bro, you're just chasing a check. Like, no one's going to go and convert with it. And I've had deals with sponsors, and I think that's why you build a good relationship with them. It's like, we're both not satisfied. Like, yeah, the money's cool, but I feel like I'm hustling you. I'm cool to break this contract off. And, instead of giving me, throwing out a number, 1,000, would you be cool with giving me 600? Because I did do what you asked me to,
sure,
but I'm not getting the signups because like it don't fit my demographic.
Yeah.
So now what you're seeing is my whole thing has been, yo, if I could get 1,000 people.
I hate you. It's literally what I was gonna say. It's the 1,000.
Yeah. If I could get 1,000 people to listen to the show within 24 hours, which is what's happening now, and I could tell them, yo, hit up this, go to Twitter, go to Instagram, go on their last post, and tag Veterans Minimum or tag Nick. That's more valuable than having 10,000 people following you that won't do that.
100%.
So I prefer that. That's why I've always tried to keep that community.
If you keep listen, and this goes for all of us in this room, if each of us can find a community of 1,000 people, so even if you have, 100,000, 200,000, whatever we get to, if you have that core 1,000 people that rock with everything you do. So Nick, you put out a new Veterans Minimum t-shirt. This is the season 5 shirt. Whatever. We need to start doing that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like we go by literal seasons. Like, we do certain things and it's like you have 1,000 people that are going to buy it. If you have 1,000 people paying $20 each time, that's $200,000 every year just for a shirt. So it's like if we actually had that core 1,000, man, that really, really rode for the show and we're always engaged, that's truthfully all you really need. You know what I mean? Everything else, honestly, is gravy.
Yeah.
But if it's like actually selling something to 1,000 people, if you can do that, I learned that doing real estate and things. Like if you literally have 1,000 people riding with you like that, you will always be okay.
Shit, man, that 1,000 people's gotten me this far.
Yeah, it's
Every
legit.
opportunity I've gotten is because of that.
Yeah.
So I don't take that for granted, and I think it's very important that we have these kind of conversations. With all that being said, UFC 300 absolutely delivered.
Yes.
In every sense. The expectations, the fights, the fallout. How would you like to start? Do we got to start with the BMF?
I mean, we can, and that was.
I think we have to, because I think going into that card, I made the case that Max was the biggest star on the card.
Okay.
And now I think he's gotten 1 million followers since that fight. And it's been
1 million additional followers.
Yeah. And it's been 36 hours.
Wow.
And his stardom now, it's like, now he entered, dude, that knockout and like the whole pointing, right, which he's done before, but the whole pointing, bro, if you were to take a compilation, not that kind of compilations, I saw how your eyes perked up there, Josh. But if you were to take a compilation of all the greatest like sports moments of all time, the Jordan fist pump, the Tiger fist pump, I don't know, like
Kyrie hitting the shot, the block, like all of those kind of things.
That should be in there.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Like that whole like 12 from when he does the cartwheel kick to where he goes like, yo, come on.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, fighters don't do that, dude. How many times have you seen guys like up on the scorecards? I think Dana was talking about it. He's like, guys are up on the scorecards, they start running around, they're celebrating. Max to be like, nah, bro, let's put on a show. And then for it to end the way it did.
Yes. I mean, look, the point, the fight was already won. He had won 4 rounds, not a question.
Yeah.
For him to do that, because it could have easily.
I think it was 3-1.
Okay.
But he was winning that round too, so 4-1.
Yeah. It was about 4-1, right? But I mean, to put it all on the line, because it could have went the other way, right?
Yeah, he could have got caught and then he would have looked foolish.
He could have got caught and it's like, dang, Max had the win.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
So like to put it all out there in that moment, bro, absolutely amazing. It's one of the most gangster moments anytime he does it. Because that's so dope. Like, because, you know, fighters always are trying to maneuver, trying to gain position. No, we just gonna go. We gonna go right here. So cool. Absolutely love it.
And you've seen a bunch of fighters in the past that are down on the scorecards do it.
Yeah.
And the other guy's like, I'm not getting in there.
Yeah, what's the point? I'm not in a firefight.
Max would be like, yo, right here, bro. Max will be right here.
And I'm winning.
I have to for a second. I told Cam, that's why George is the man. Did we not tell you? I didn't have a crystal ball, but it does feel like I had a crystal ball. The fight played out exactly how I thought it was going to play out. Everyone was worried about him going up to 155. Yo, Max looked the part. Max and Justin, I thought like frame-wise, they kind of looked the same because he had the time. He had the amount of time to go up. And he put on the muscle. He put on the size where when he fought Dustin, that wasn't the case. They've known about this fight, bro, since like November.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, remember, this was the first fight that they kind of booked for 300.
Yeah.
We didn't know what the title was going to be.
Yeah.
We had no title fight. Like, that was the first fight. And they're like, oh, shit, BMF, yada, yada. It's cool. Now the way things transpired and, you know, Volk ends up losing and Islam and Dustin, we didn't know how those fights were going to play out. And now you're looking at it like, damn, bro, those guys should have just fought in their respective weight classes. But they wanted to put on a show for the fans, and they did, right? And, like, just imagine how many people might have tuned in for the first time for UFC 300.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's such a monumental event, and the way it was covered and it was presented, probably have so many new people watching, and they're like, yo, what is this? Who is this? And then they see that. And, like, that's why Max's following is growing. And, like, so many people. Dude, the UFC don't be posting outcomes of fights.
Yeah.
They posted that. Dana posted it on his social. Usually, the way the clip would be like Gaethje already on the ground, Max celebrating. But they showed the whole because back to my point, like it's a monumental, dope fucking sports moment.
Yeah.
And you know what the best like deciding factor to this too. Max passed the mom test. My mom was like, "Who's this Max Holloway guy?" I go, "Yo, Ma, you've never hit me up about Max." She's like, "That was crazy. Can you explain to me what happened? It looked incredible." And then I was like, "Oh shit, he passed the mom test." When my mom knows about you or asks about you, that's when you hit that.
You've hit another point.
Dimension, man. And dude, it looked like he didn't even fight.
Yes,
I know his leg looked awful.
Yeah, his leg was welted for sure.
His leg was pretty banged up, but everything else, man, like, you know, and people are saying, you know, Justin broke his nose. It's like, yeah, well, Max did that.
Broke it
Max,
at the end of the first round.
Max caught the tendencies that at the end of rounds, he tends to be overly aggressive and he drops his head. And he's like, bam, he caught him right there. Yeah. And then that altered the fight, obviously. But, dude, Max was just piecing him up. I thought he was going to put him away at one point. I think it was round 4.
I think so.
He had him up against the cage, had him wobbled and all that.
Yeah.
I had massive conviction on Max. Had a money line, had him finish, had him by knockout, had him in round 3, 4, and 5.
Wow.
All-time call the way it ended with 1 second left. I know George like hit me up immediately. He's like, did that go the distance or is that a not? And I didn't know either, bro.
No, none of us did. None of us did.
I didn't know if they were gonna rule it as
just because the time elapsed.
Like, I don't, and then I'm thinking about Yair and Korean Zombie. You know, I got screwed by fucking Weidman a couple of weeks ago where I don't even think I talked about that, but Weidman a couple of weeks ago and why it's important for you to know the rules of your sports book in any sport. It is very important. Very important because what happened with the Weidman fight and a lot of UFC betting, the official decision is what Bruce Buffer or Joel Martinez or whoever the ring announcer is, what they announce. Yeah. That's why they'll say, the referee has come to a stop in this fight in the third round via Darce choke.
Yeah.
It's a submission. That is the official result of the fight.
Yeah.
With Weidman in Atlantic City, they ruled it a third round TKO stoppage. What happens is 15 minutes later, they overturn it to a decision because of the eye poke.
Yeah, that's right.
A lot of my friends back in New York that tailed my picks because I had Weidman by finish, they got cashed out. I didn't get cashed out by the MGM.
Wow.
It took about an hour to clear. Not even voided losses.
See,
so you need to know the rules of your sports book because they tell you the official decision is what is being read by the ring announcer, and then there's others where it's whatever the tapology decision is, or the Sherdog or UFC coins it as. And it's devastating. It also happened in the NFL a couple of years ago. The NFL, there was a couple of sports books that, when it comes to win totals, each team in the division must play 17 games.
That's right.
And then what happened? The Mar Hamlin incident.
That's right.
So the Bengals and the Bills did not play 17 games that year. Remember, it got completely voided, got canceled. They didn't reschedule it. But then what happens is anyone that had win totals, I think some sports books with divisions, like division winners, the whole division was burned, voided. Because then if you had over on the Ravens, well, the Bengals didn't play 17 games. If you had under on the Dolphins, well, the Bills didn't play 17 games. So those little scroll past, I accept and I acknowledge that no one fucking reads.
No one reads these things.
Comes back to haunt you, man. So that's why I was super panicky about like, yo, is that a knockout by Max? Like I didn't know. And then once it hit my account, I went fucking ballistic, bro. 30-1 plus 3,000 Max to win in round 5.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I bet everything.
Wow. Oh, that's dope. That's good stuff, man. That's good. That's good. And you know, I can attest you deserved your moment because you did call that. And look, I wanted Max to win. I love Max. I like Justin Gaethje too. Justin's a good guy. I've met Max many times. Max is really dope. whenever you meet Max, make sure you have on good shoes because he's gonna have on good shoes.
Bro, you
And
know I always
I
have
know,
on
but
good
I'm just letting you know.
What the George?
Hey,
what
listen,
kind of question was it
listen,
from this kid?
Hey, listen.
Man,
I have
you
to
got
just
good
put.
feet on right
I have
now,
to put it
bro.
out. I have to put it out there.
Unbelievable. You're talking to a guy that literally looks at people's feet when I first meet them.
Well, look, I'm just saying, bring the heat. Like,
And I don't
just,
have a foot fetish. I'm not no Rex Ryan. I'm just saying, like, I'm into sneakers.
not Rex Ryan, but yeah, no. When I met Max, he had on the Fear of Gods, and I had on my my Mocha Travis Scott ones, and he's like, "I love your shoes," and I was like, "I love your shoes," and so we started talking about shoes and stuff, and that's how we initially met. And so I mean, I was pulling for him, like I wanted him to win, but I was very much like, Lord, please don't let Justin get a hold of Max, please. And so when the fight started and he was staying on the outside, I was like, as long as he can continue to stay on the outside and continue to hurt him, he's going to win this fight.
Yeah.
And when he got to 3 rounds, I was like, we good. I didn't have any problems. So
Yeah, Max
we'll see.
Max ballooned up to minus 900 at one point.
Wow.
Yeah, which is crazy for a fight in which he was the underdog in. And bro, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but I've watched that knockout now 100 times. Like legit 100 times. I think I reposted it 3 times in like 12 hours. I was just like, yo, this is crazy. But if you watch DC next time you get when they show the Rogan Anik DC cam.
Yeah.
Bro, like the thrill of victory, the agony of defeat. Because he's boys with both of them.
Yeah.
And he just like puts his hands on his face and like you see he's like emotional and choked up. Because like how do you celebrate your one boy has an all-time God mode moment,
Yeah.
but then the dude you golf with all the time and like that's your man
Yeah.
is on the wrong side of it.
It's hard. Chris Curtis just fought Brendan Allen. Friends with both of them. They both on my phone. And anytime his friends fighting, man, it's like, yo, it's uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable because you love both guys and you want to see both guys do well. And then when somebody gets hurt, it's like, Jesus Christ. Like it's very, very hard. I mean, I will say that was the most electric I've felt in a UFC fight. I'd say almost ever. Outside, you know what? No. When I saw Conor beat Cowboy live, similar. But it wasn't nearly the same kind of burst of, oh my God. Like it was, you could kind of see it coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That this fight, this moment, like you said, it's up there. That's top. I don't know where you want to put it, but it's top something.
And yo, Gaethje's never been finished like that.
No.
Like out. You know, he's been stopped by, you know, how it looked in the 4th round, where a bunch of punches.
Sure.
And look, I never.
He was
thought-
Pacquiao in this one.
Yeah, I never thought Max was a KO artist. I always thought it was an accumulation of 400 significant strikes, and then eventually you just fold. But dude, his last 2 fights, he slept people, Korean Zombie and Gaethje. So shout out to Max, man, an absolute insane card. I do want to mention the Weili incident. Bro, she choked her out. And I'm telling you, I had Weili by submission plus 350. She blew up a parlay. I was fully convinced that Weili could do whatever she wanted in that fight. And it was a little, when Jan had her upright, you know, she dropped her many times. Shout out to John Wood, head coach of Syndicate, gave her great advice, like, stop throwing the leg kicks. Because she's catching you, and that's what was happening. Weili chokes her out. And if Weili, when the round ends, just lays there on the bottom, they probably call the fight. But her shoving her off, because Jan is like, out, bro. Like, you take a nap. And she's out, and then when Weili pushes her off to, like, stand up, she kind of wakes up. She's still groggy.
As we saw.
But, bro, I'm like, and when that happened, Josh, I'm like, there's no way she's winning by submission. Like, there's no way. Like, she literally submitted her, but the fight's going to continue now. I was like, this is going to go to distance because I have fight doesn't go. I have Weili by finish. I have Weili by submission. And that's what happened. But I think if she doesn't push her off, she gets a submission.
Interesting.
You don't think so?
You would be far more versed in that than me. I've never been choked out, never been close.
No, but I'm saying like even if just like the visual of it, because when she has the choke in and then lets it go because the round ended.
You're not gonna kill somebody.
Yan is out laying on her.
Yeah.
So for Wei Li to get up, she has to shove her, move her to the side to get up. Bro, when she shoves her, she like wakes up.
Yeah.
She like, oh, okay, where am I at?
I'm alive. Yeah.
And then you're still gonna have the after effects of, holy shit.
Yeah. All I'll say,
pissed, bro.
I know you were, because I mean, look, we all thought that fight was over, and literally, if it was 2 more seconds, it would have been over. And I will say, shout out to Yan because, and I said this on the show earlier, she wasn't going to tap. She was like, "You're gonna have to put me out." Because she knew it was tight enough, it was close enough that like I can just maybe fade off into the distance, but maybe this will happen and I wake up. And she fought valiantly for the next 2 rounds. Because round 2 and round 3, she was locked in. Round 4 and round 5, Wei Li started to get busy again and started going to grappling and taking her to the ground. And it was about winning the fight at that point. Because it was dicey up until about that 4th round. 4th round, she got it, and it was like, okay, I think she's got this now. Sorry that that it blew up so many tickets.
Oh, man. That one, and then Charles not getting that submission in the first on Armin. Shout out to Armin, man. I felt like that was the right decision. I think Armin won that fight. Split decision, I thought was crazy. But again, man, like the judging, sometimes the judging is it's a little wacky. Let's address the elephant in the room, bro. I was rooting for your boy. Actually, on the Patreon and in the Discord, I said passing on the main event. I had no idea how it was gonna play out.
Sure.
But I was rooting more so for Jamal Hill because of you. Truthfully,
Yeah.
I was like, yo, I don't have a dog in the race. There's nothing I really like betting wise. Like, we could look back at this line and be like, damn, bro, Jamal was the underdog. Like, he was the champ. There was so many factors, so I just passed on it. But he's one of your close friends. Obviously, I know how you feel, but like,
so I talked to him. I talked to him today. He was actually supposed to come on the show today, and he's just still not ready. So he's probably gonna come on the show next week. But I mean, yeah, it was interesting, and I didn't feel this way. I was telling George, and I can't remember. I barely remember what I say on my show anymore. But after the fight, I talked to about 10 of his friends and 10 other people. And one of the things that I didn't notice in my anger of just, the freaking fight's over, when he kicked Alex's belt line, and Herb stepped in, and Alex, shrugged him off or whatever. In that moment, he actually stole position. And he walked around Herb, and Jamal had already relaxed. And when Herb didn't really fully separate them, like he kind of just kept going forward, it put Jamal in a position where it allowed him to take that angle, and then that's what set that shot up. That's the thing. That's one of the things that that kind of came out. Another thing, and I will again let Jamal address this on his own time. There were some other injuries outside of the Achilles that happened in training camp, like big things. And Dana walked in the back and was like, "Did that happen out there?" And I was like, "No." So but there's, and that goes for any fighter. You know what I mean? Like any of these fights, people come in with bumps, bruises, broken things, and they have to make it appear as if something isn't wrong. That to me is like the most, just, I guess, gangster thing about fighting.
That's exactly the word.
Where, you know what I mean? Where it's like how when something is broken, you act as if it's fine. You don't have no cast, you don't have no splint, no nothing, no wrap, nothing. But it's broke. And you're like, yeah, I'm good. Flex. What? That is insane to me, their level of, we gonna have to keep moving forward. And because, listen, Jamal, and, this is my feeling, and I didn't want to ever say any of these things beforehand just because I don't like putting things in the atmosphere, but Jamal was rushed for this fight. This was a rush job.
I mean, everyone knew that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so 9 months removed from an Achilles tear, that was my fault. But 9 months removed from that, bro, like Achilles take 15, 16, 17 months to truly heal.
Yeah.
And he was like, you could tell in his movement. He wasn't moving. He wasn't side to side and his normal self. So all of those things come into account. You know what I mean? Biggest thing is, you know, I'm excited to see the pay-per-view buy numbers, because when those come in, I'll know where he's at.
Word.
And so that's the bigger takeaway for me.
Yeah, I mean, you're so right, bro. Like, I think that's what makes them fighters. There's not an athlete I respect more than a MMA fighter. And honestly, at any level, too. Like, obviously, when you get to that and you're headlining pay-per-views, that's a different aura. But just in general, dude, for you to want to go fight, and I have a lot of friends that fight, and then I'll be like, yo, like, did you make any money off that? And they're like, yeah, like $800. And I was like, that's fucking crazy, bro. Yeah. When you think about it, dude, like, everyone always talks about, like, fighter pay, right? Like, that's a big conversation. If you, like, break it down into hours spent training and rehabbing and all that stuff, and then you get a, 15-15 show, and, bro, you're kind of making minimum wage.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you look at the big number and it's dope, but you factor in taxes and management and agent and nutrition
coaches.
And gym and coaches. Yeah. And it's like, and then, all right, now I have $12K for me. And then you're breaking it down. You're like, bro, I probably spent like.
When's the next time I'm going to fight?
Yeah. But you're also saying like, yo, I probably spent like, I don't know, 30 hours in the gym every week. Mm-hmm. It's been an 8-week camp. Divided by whatever, it's you gotta make it minimum wage, bro. It's crazy. And that's at the highest level.
Yeah.
You're making like pennies when you're doing it fucking regionally.
That's not the circuit.
It's wild, man. It's wild. But a ton of finishes for UFC 300. They announced Conor is back. Conor's fighting Chandler, International Fight Week, June 29th. And we'll talk more about Conor on a future episode. But the one thing I will say, I said it with John Orlando. Shouts to John Orlando. He came on the show over at the Win. It was I think it was the first time I ever had him. It's the only time I've had him on the show, but we were talking about Conor. And I feel like that video has aged so well, because the one thing I said was, I don't know who's going to win. I don't know when he's going to fight next. But the next time Conor McGregor fights, it might be the last holy shit Conor's back fighting moment. Because if he goes out there and he loses to Chandler,
it's a wrap.
You're like 1-5 in your last 6. You've been inactive. The aura's not there once you start losing. So we'll have, when he fights June 29th, we're all going to be fascinated and excited, and it might be 2 million pay-per-view buys. Like, it'll be oh my God, the Notorious one is back, and the casuals are going to be in on it. But then he has to win that fight in order for us to have another Conor moment. Because if he loses, after that, you're like, nah, all right, Conor's back. Like, he's a shell of himself. It's not as exciting. Yeah. But if he wins, we get more of those. So that's always been my Conor take. Don't know when it was going to happen, but now that we know it's going to happen, I'm still fucking excited as shit that Conor's coming back, but he needs to win in order for us to have these sustained moments of Conor coming back.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, the biggest thing, too, if he does win, because, listen, I'm a Conor guy. If he does win, he needs to fight again. Like,
the end of the year.
Pretty, I would say, I mean, obviously, it's Conor, so you're going to give those a chance to breathe, and, Conor's going to fight in, November or whatever. Like, he needs to fight on, MSG or the last card of the year in December. One of those, if he does get that dub. If he gets that dub and he doesn't take any damage, has to happen. But you're exactly right. If he loses this one, it's probably the end of the road. But he's made his money. In the end, he's done everything and 1,000 times more than what he had set out to do in fighting. So I think that's also the reason why it's not as serious to him anymore.
All right, we're back. NBA preview of the playoff matchups we know of. I love this time of year. This is my favorite NBA time of the year. This is where I bet the most NBA. You have so many options. Now they've done things where it's called series spreads. So if you think a team is going to win by more than 1.5 games, they're going to win in 5 or 6. You could bet that. Probably get some more value there.
Oh, that's actually great value.
Yeah, you can also bet. Like exact series outcome, Mavs in 7 plus whatever, or whatever it might be. One thing, as I was looking at the odds, and we're gonna only preview the 2 matchups in the East: Magic versus the Cavs, and then we got the Bucks versus the Pacers, and then in the West we got the Clippers and the Mavs, and the Wolves and the Suns. One thing, Josh, that I've noticed is the days of the higher seed being minus 800, minus 1,200.
Yeah.
It's over, bro.
Those are gone.
The biggest favorite are the Bucks at minus 265. And I kind of think that's wrong because, bro, did you see when Giannis got hurt?
What you mean? What time?
Like when Giannis got hurt the last time, as he's literally walking up the court.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't even have the ball.
Yeah.
Collapses, grabs his foot. I'm like, oh, shit, that's an Achilles. Like, that just looked horrible.
Yeah.
We don't know his status for game 1. We don't know when he's coming back. I know selfishly, as a Knicks fan, I was hoping they could play Milwaukee first because of the uncertainty of Giannis.
Yeah.
And then you could play Philly in the second round.
Yeah.
Before you know you're in the conference finals.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
What is going on?
What is going on? But, you know, Knicks got the 2 seed. We'll get to them a little bit later. But we'll start with the Bucks. Bucks minus 265 against the Pacers. In the NBA now, where people don't have beef, these two got beef, bro.
Yeah.
Remember, they played in the in-season.
Mm-hmm.
This was the Giannis game ball incident.
Yeah.
Giannis dropped like 63 or 64, and
wanted
then
the game ball.
the other team took the game ball because a rookie scored his first bucket, and it was like, what is happening?
Split the ball in half.
The Pacers won the season series 4-1, including the playing game.
Yep.
All of those, though, and why I think this line is mispriced, is before Siakam got there.
Yep.
Siakam has gotten there. He got traded midseason. Giannis' health is obviously the biggest factor in this series because they're 4-5 without him on the floor. And in the matchups, like advanced analytics, Pacers outscored them by 39 points when Giannis was not on the floor. Like, he covers up a lot of the issues that the Bucks have defensively because he's an all-world kind of defender.
Yeah. And rebounder.
Yeah, and just, like, dictates a lot of things for them. I kind of like Indiana in this. If I know that Giannis isn't 100% healthy.
Yep. And I was talking about this on the show with George. For me, it's you don't want to lean Pacers, but there's that Doc Rivers factor too. And it's like when it comes down to it, outside of Dame really, really pushing things to another point, because there is that to be said. Like, we're gonna be locked in, like you said, this is the playoffs. I think that's the only thing that saves them is Damian Lillard has a great series. You hope Giannis is there. You hope Giannis is healthy and won't re-injure himself. If those two things can happen, you throw Chris Middleton in, then I think that's the Bucks' path forward. But if any of those things aren't there, I'm 100% with you, and I think the Pacers can get them.
Yeah, and also, like, on the Pacers side, Halliburton with his hamstring, you got to worry about that. Shit, I'm looking already for overs in this game, in these matchups, because, shit, every box score you see of the Pacers, it's like 158 and without overtime.
Yeah,
Like, this is an all-star game. It's crazy. They don't play any defense.
Yeah.
And the Bucks, like, Damian Lillard, for as great as he is offensively, he's a liability defensively.
Yeah.
And
you think he's a liability? I don't think he's a liability. I think he's just not Drew Holiday. Drew is elite defender.
Right.
He's not elite. He can guard his position, but he's not going to go above and beyond. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair. But
I understand where
I
you're
think the
coming from.
trade-off was like how much better he was offensively.
Yes.
But like, shit, I think he
I'm
can
plus
make
10. I'm plus 10 in points. So
yeah, but I think you can make a case that Drew was probably a more valuable piece for a team. Like, shit, he just got $135 million from the Celtics. He got extended.
Where is all this money coming from?
Shit, man, it's crazy.
Good
These
Lord.
new TV deals got to be fucking out of control because it's wild. But I'm leaning. Excuse me, fucking fighting this cough.
Mucinex. Today's broadcast brought to you by Mucinex.
Unbelievable. I'm leaning towards the Pacers.
He's
Pacers.
leaning towards the Pacers.
Excuse me, man. Fuck. I've had these allergies, bro, and this cough just hasn't escaped me. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. I'm leaning towards the Pacers. Only because Giannis, I don't know yet. Now, if he comes out game 1, he gives us 30 and 15, probably going to be a short series.
Yeah.
But I'm leaning towards the Pacers. I think that line is it's a good line, man. And you know the way I look at it too is if you do think the Bucks win, maybe wait. Maybe they do drop game 1 because Giannis is back and he looks a little suspect. And maybe you could get them at, instead of minus 265, you could get them minus 140. Yeah. Especially if he looks awful and then it's like, oh shit, he's banged up. So I would just wait. But I'm leaning towards the Pacers pulling the upset.
Yep.
That's my favorite upset pick of the first round.
Okay.
At the time that we're recording this.
Okay. That's fair.
What
That's
you
fair.
got?
I'm gonna say Bucks. I'm gonna say Bucks in 6, simply because, you know, we want to see Dame get to the next point. So I'll roll Bucks in 6.
Cavs minus 195 versus the Magic at plus 165. A lot of good D in this series.
Easy.
Hey, yo. Both ranked top 10 in defense. Both kind of struggle offensively, bottom half of the league.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I said what I said to start this conversation, 21-2 are the Magic when holding the opposition under 100.
Oof.
Cavs 14-0.
Wow.
Health, and more health. That, I think, is the biggest deciding factor for me in a lot of these series. Because the Cavs have had more than 300 games missed due to injuries this year.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Donovan Mitchell just as a player?
I literally just was talking about this on the show earlier. I asked George, I was like, when was the last time you remember a Donovan Mitchell highlight? Like, Donovan Mitchell.
I could remember him and Murray going at it in the bubble.
But that's 4 years.
That's really it.
That's been 4 years. Like, I can't remember, outside of him having, I want to say he had 60 with the Cavs. When he got to the Cavs last year, he had that big game. Maybe even 70. Jesus, today's scoring. But outside of that, I can't really recall a Donovan Mitchell moment. Now, he has put this team on his back and carried them to the playoffs and put them in position. But I'm pulling, and I think that the Magic can get him. I think the Magic can get him. The Magic are young, they're hungry. Paolo will give a little bit more of an inside-outside presence to it. But I think it's truly gonna come down to the Cavs bench. If the Cavs bench, and as you're saying, the advanced analytics in terms of defense, it sounds like it's gonna be a slugfest of a series. Though I will say that it's gonna be tight. I think it's gonna be very tight.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards the Magic too, just because right now, if you look at like the injury report, no one on the Magic. Cavs got LeVert, Garland,
Everybody
Mitchell.
game time decisions.
Yeah, and look, man, I think the Magic have been one of the best stories in the league this year. Paolo was an all-star. He kind of got the recognition, but still, like, for a dude that put up the numbers that he did, and he got them to be a top seed. And what I mean by that now with the play, and it's like, you're a top seed if you're a top 6, in my opinion. Like, you know your matchup, you're chilling.
Yeah.
You don't need to worry about anything. And that's what you saw there with the Magic this year. But I think it's because it's Orlando. Orlando's kind of known for every big name they've ever had always leaves them.
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah.
Shaq, McGrady, Dwight. Penny also. Well,
Yeah.
Penny got hurt.
He got hurt, but then he left.
Yeah. So, like, there's that's what I think the issue is with the Magic. But, man, they've, Wagner and Wendell Carter going from one place to another. It goes back to my theory of, like, yo, don't give up on a dude because he's 22. Like, we want these lottery picks to immediately be like, 20 and 10 every night.
A lottery ticket.
Yeah. And sometimes it's like, yo, bro, you got to wait, right?
Yeah.
Like, Wiggins was not supposed to be the #1 pick and be the main guy. He's a great third piece and fourth piece. And I get it. Like, you take a guy #1, you want him to be the face of your franchise. But some guys is not that.
Well, remember too with Wiggins, he was supposed to be LeBron.
Yeah.
But the thing was, like, and I've said this before, he's Canadian, and that just wasn't. It's similar to on the Knicks. Just went back to Toronto. RJ Barrett, similar. Like, those Canadians, just their makeup, who they are as people. Their country is a very chill country. They're very chill. They're very much on vibes. So when you want somebody to be attack mode, that may not be who they are internally. And like you said, you know, him going to the Cavs, I think also him being traded from the Cavs before LeBron got there, leaving, you know, all those things, that changed and shifted how his career was going to go too, I think. But as far as this series goes, Magic Cavs, they went 2-2 during the regular season. All the games were pretty much all but the last one were all blowouts. Cavs with 2 blowouts, the Magic with 1, and then the last game was a 7-point game. Magic winning on the road. But to your point, I think it's, like I said, Paolo. I'm really excited to see Paolo on this stage. That's going to be interesting to watch, and what that looks like, because, like you said, most people don't even know about the Magic. They don't know who they have. They kind of
you know who they remind me of, and like, let me explain before you jump on me.
Okay.
They kind of remind me of how people felt about the Nuggets last year, in the sense of, just because they weren't getting the limelight in the nationally televised games
doesn't mean they're trash.
When they saw the Nuggets, they were like, holy shit, this team is good. It's like, yeah, bro, we've known that. They went 16-4 in the playoffs. Like, they steamrolled. Like, it wasn't a surprise to people that saw them play.
Sure.
I'm not saying that the Magic are the Nuggets, but the comparison I'm making is in the sense of, just because they're not in the spotlight doesn't mean that they're not a great team.
Yeah.
And yeah, they did overachieve this year, but they've been building, man. They've sucked all these years, acquired all these lottery picks, and they're turning out to be really good teams.
Yeah.
So that's what I was saying with that comparison. I'm leaning towards the Magic.
I think
Magic
they
in
can do
6.
It. You got Magic in 6?
Yeah.
I'll go Magic in 7. I'll go Magic in 7.
You mentioned the regular season matchups, and I think it's very important. And it's been a gripe that I've had with the NBA for so long, because, like, 10 years ago, or even when I first started doing content, I remember when we were talking about the NBA, like, especially playoff time, you knew that, all right, this team was 3-1 against them in the regular season, but you knew everyone played. Now you got to you have it on the surface. Like, for example, Mavs and the Clippers. Clippers won the series 2-1, but the last time these two teams played was in December. Totally different fucking
Doesn't
teams.
count.
Totally different teams, right? Like, the Mavs have been one of the best teams in the league post All-Star. They went 16-2 to end the year. And I know they lost the last couple of games, but it was like, they rested Luka and Kyrie against the Thunder and got smoked. Like, that game didn't matter. They knew they were playing the Clippers. They were chilling. But it's one of the most frustrating things when it comes to NBA playoff handicapping, because I love betting the NBA. It's one of my favorite. The spots are great. There's no bullshit. This guy's only going to play 28 minutes because there's no back-to-backs. So, LeBron, you playing probably 46 minutes, bro.
Yep.
Durant, you're probably going to play 43 of the 48 minutes. Fucking DiVincenzo played 53 minutes the other night. You're like, yo, Tibbs, chill, bro. Like, it ain't that deep. Let a man breathe. But that's my favorite thing about the NBA playoffs is there's no unless there's a blowout, which I totally get. But I'm saying, if it's a close game, bro, your rotation is down to 7, maybe 8.
Maybe 8. Yeah.
You're playing 40 plus.
Tibbs at 6.5.
Yeah. Shit,
Somebody got into foul trouble.
Someone got into foul trouble, or else I ain't making no subs. But, like, yo, it's important you have to look at the box score just to see who played.
Yep. 1,000%.
There's been games where, like, fucking Jokic didn't play. Murray didn't play. So, like, yeah, maybe this team is, they swept the Nuggets in the playoffs, hypothetically.
Yeah.
Well, Jokic and Murray didn't play. Yeah, no shit. Those guys are the 2 best players on the team.
Yeah.
So, like, with this Clippers and Mavs, way more additions for the Mavs. Like I said, one of the best teams post All-Star break. One of them's coming into the playoffs healthy. The other one got some question marks.
Yep.
Harden, who notorious
Shut it
shitter
down. Yeah.
come playoff time. You got Kawhi with the knee inflammation again. I was big on the Mavs a couple weeks ago, 35-1 to win the title. They avoid the Nuggets until the conference finals.
Yeah.
The way things played out. I think the Mavs get it done in 6 against the Clippers. This is a pick 'em. Either way, it's a coin flip based on the odds.
Yeah.
I kind of think it's wrong. I think the Mavs should be the favorite. We were talking about it before we started recording, and I feel like they like each other.
Yeah, yeah. The Mavs.
The Mavs,
Maverick
yeah.
players,
Like they all look like they're having fun. You haven't heard nothing from Kyrie.
In months.
No flat earth stuff. No vaccinations.
No problems with Israel.
No problems with anything. He's like, yo, I'm gonna be Luka's Robin. I'm chilling. It's cool. They're throwing alleys to each other.
Yeah.
Like you could see that they actually care about each other.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of like the Nuggets. The Nuggets have had the same team for 5-6 years now.
Yes, they have.
With a rookie
piece
and Braun
here or
and
there,
Aaron
yeah.
Gordon coming in, but I'm on the Mavs.
Look, listen. I hate that this is a first round matchup. Hate it because I like both of these.
But bro,
teams.
there's so many good matchups in the playoffs.
I know, but I like both of these teams. Like
Yeah.
I like them. I like the players on them. I'd love to see both of these teams make a run. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like, to your point, I feel like whoever does win this matchup has the ability to make a run. I think when it comes down to it with this one, remember Russell Westbrook just went down with that injury towards the end of the season. So, like, okay, he's not on the injury report here. Is he working himself back? Is he going to be okay? I feel like, listen, if everyone's healthy, the Clippers have the better roster top to bottom.
Without a doubt.
But the Mavs, look, that Luka and Kyrie factor is different. And until the Clippers allow Kawhi to put on the freaking cape, they're going to struggle. They're gonna lose games where they may have had a chance. And when I say put on the cape, he's got to put on, Toronto Raptors Kawhi Leonard, where it's like, look, bro, we're living and dying with your actions. You know what I mean? If you want to get the bucket, it's your bucket. If not, we got Paul, we got Russ, we got James Harden all out here, and all of them can score in their own right. But the Clippers have always been, okay, your turn, my turn. Okay, your turn, my turn. And it's like, no, he's the only one of y'all that has actually done it. Yeah. He's done it twice. And he's led teams multiple times. He's got to be the guy. And Kawhi has allowed himself to kind of take a second seat sometimes. And that's why I feel like in these big moments, you know what I mean, it kind of falls off. So, but I'm with you. I'm pulling Clippers, but I could easily see the Mavs win.
I'm on the Mavs, even though I know I'm financially invested in them. I just think right now they're just playing the best. They're playing. Yeah. They're one of the 3 best teams right now in the league.
Yeah.
Record-wise, the way they're playing, the continuity, and then you got Luka and Kyrie that could easily have that graphic of 40 and 40.
Very easily.
Very easily. And I think they got some really good favorable matchups in this series. So I'm going Mavs in 6. All right, last one. Wolves take on the Suns, another series that is relatively close in the betting markets. I feel really strong about this one.
Okay, I do too, but go ahead.
I got the Suns in 5.
Wow.
I got the Suns in 5. They closed the year 10-4.
Uh-huh.
Remember, we spoke about the Suns and the Mavs with the Warriors and the Lakers. Like, yo, look at who these play-in teams are. If you're the 1 or 2 seed, you're a Timberwolves or a Thunder. You're this young team, and you overachieved. You got your 50 wins. You're a top 2 seeds. Look who's might be waiting for you, bro. Yeah. A Durant, a Luka, a Steph, a LeBron, and AD. You're like, holy shit, man. Were we better off being a 5 seed to avoid them? So now the Wolves, they play the Suns. And at the time that we did that, those like strength of schedule lists, the Suns had the hardest schedule remaining in the league. They went 10-4 to end the year. They're going to shorten the rotation. They're going to go to 6 or 7 guys also. Durant, Beal, and Booker, they haven't played much together. But I think those guys, they're going to lean on Booker and Durant, and then the complementary piece would be Beal. And then you have Allen from 3. shot a high percentage. He just got paid also.
Yeah.
The one thing that I'm factoring in the most is Towns has only played twice since he got hurt in early March. Bro, you're coming back now and you're being inserted into the lineup and you got to go 100.
Yeah.
And I know you're a soccer guy, but like the analogy I'll make is like, we've seen it happen in the NBA. I'll give you a perfect example. The Knicks played the Hawks a couple years ago. It was like during the pandemic. It wasn't the bubble, but remember when they like spit on Trae Young and the fans were booing him?
Yeah.
Bro, Frank Ntilikina didn't play the whole game. They put him in to guard Trae on the last possession of the game.
Yeah. Bruh.
It drives me up a wall, bro.
Yeah.
Dude hasn't played all game.
He is not warm.
Not warm at all. Oh, yeah. Biggest possession of the game, you got to guard their best and most explosive player. And remember, they ended up going to the conference finals that year. This was a different Hawks team.
Yeah.
Why? Like, and he blew past Frank. I don't know if it was a layup, but like they ended up scoring on it's like, yeah, no shit. Dude, in the Euro Cup final in 2000, England substituted 3 guys that then went on to take penalty kicks, and that's the first time that they touched the ball.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's a Euro Cup final. You're at home. You're going up against Italy. Biggest moment. This is the first time you're it's like, yo, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Imagine bringing in a closer and you don't let him warm up in the bullpen.
Just bring him in.
Bring him in. Oh, yo, go out there. Oh, and by the way, it's bases loaded, no outs. Go out there. You're like,
bases loaded, no outs.
Bro, it drives me crazy. And to bring it back to Towns, he's played twice since March 4th. Now you got to go in there and you got Durant coming at you.
Yeah.
Booker, Nurkic. I think it's asking a lot.
I actually think the Suns are cooked.
Okay. I like this then.
I think I mean, listen, Bradley Beal,
that's your boy.
I mean, he is, but at the same time, the issues that we had in Washington, I feel like they've borne out a little bit more in Phoenix. Bradley has the tendency to, like, his play goes up down very much. And then also you have to remember too, this is his first playoffs in maybe 4 years.
I think like 2017, no?
No. We made it with Russ.
Oh,
so whatever year that was the last time. Then we made the playoffs. But before that, it had been probably about 2 seasons because John kept getting hurt. So like, yeah, so that's a factor. Like, all right, how locked in is he gonna be? Is he gonna feel the pressure because he was supposed to come here and help?
2021, they made the playoffs. They lost in 4 to the Sixers.
Yeah, we got cracked. But I mean, I think I personally just, you say, oh, okay, we're gonna tighten the rotations. Their rotations already have been tight. They have no bench. So at what point are those guys gonna start being exhausted too? You know what I mean? When the other team will now, Karl Anthony Towns is going to be out here for 40-plus minutes, and he hasn't had to do this all year. You know what I mean? Anthony Edwards, same thing. I've been, playing 32 minutes. Now I'm playing 45. It's going to be interesting. I think Pat Bev is going to have a very, very big say, especially defensively if he doesn't get into foul trouble. If he can take or bother Booker or Beal and marginalize either of them. Changes a little bit too. So I definitely have the Suns being at least involved, but I have the Wolves in 6.
I like this. I like that we disagree. But to the Suns' point before we wrap up, man, there's a team that had to bring in Thaddeus Young, who's been on, I think, 25 of the 30 teams in the NBA.
Easily.
And then they had to get Isaiah Thomas just to fill out the roster.
IT's on the team?
Yeah, he's been on the team. He signed the 10-day, and then they signed them throughout the rest of the year.
Oh, I didn't even
But
realize
he's like the 5th option. But it's cool. Like, he returned back to a place that made him pretty popular, and he was killing it. Remember, they had like the 3-guard rotation back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like that's how bad the injuries had accumulated in Phoenix. So look, I think this was a team that they were one of the favorites coming in. And then you got a team like Minnesota who surprised a lot of people.
Yeah.
They thought they were going to be good, but not like this good. And look, man, Anthony Edwards got a chance. If he could like knock out the Suns and in like a short series and just dropping 30 every game, like that could elevate him to be an even bigger star. So You got a lot of matchups that could potentially be conference finals, especially in the West already.
In the first round.
In the first round. So
Crazy.
it's going to be fun, man. It's going to be fun. On the next episode of VM, we're going to preview the rest of the playoff matchups that we do get to know and see what they are. And, yeah, this was fun. Thank you, Josh, for joining me as always. Shouts to George in the back. Thank you for hopping on. And, George, you know what we're going to talk about on the next show since you're going to be on the next show.
Basketball.
Let's do it, man. Josh, where can they find you if they want to contact you?
Man, the American Fan 365 just finished up the Jersey Jam, so shout out to each of you that were a part of that. If you guys have been tracking that, excited to see what's continuing to grow and what's continuing to happen with the show. But the American Fan 365, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere.
We'll catch you guys next time.
In his element, I'm a gold medalist, bronze like your medal is. So many deer in headlights, but it's bedtime. Hear that supper bell, main course, be the venison.
Dab. Most dangerous game. Either kill or be killed.